brutal today, so I may have to voice over this. One common technical element that all the greatest throwers in history and in the modern game have is they stay balanced on the point of release. During release of the disc, they're able to maintain composure. This is huge in terms of being able to hit lines. If your base moves, everything moves. So essentially here, what I mean is how you build a house is from the ground up. If you don't have a strong foundation, then the house will fall. And this applies to sport. This definitely applies to an accuracy game like disc golf. If I am at the point of release and I am balanced with my plant foot, so again, your rear foot will come off the ground, but if I'm balanced on my plant foot, I'm able to consistently hit lines. So again, if I'm here at release and my plant foot is stable or I'm solid, if I'm solid planted to the ground, if I am solid and planted to the ground during a release, then my disc won't move. But if my base moves, then my disc will move quite a bit. And this causes errant shots, and it causes you to not really be able to attack gaps. You can get away with quite a bit if it's a wide open shot, but if you have to attack a gap aggressively and really hit your angle, hit your line, everything is built from the ground up. So again, if you stay nice and planted during release, you are not going to be moving the angle of the disc. You're not going to be moving off the line and rounding off the shot. But again, if you're here at release and you're off balance, it's very, very hard to have a repeatable shot or be able to consistently hit gaps. So that's what we're going to get into today. I'm going to show you a quick drill that I think is very helpful. It's pretty simple. I may have to voice over all of this, but we'll see. If I can't take out the wind noise, I'll go ahead and do that. But this drill's super simple, so let's get into it. Alright, this drill should be pretty accessible for most people. If you have a really hard time doing it with a run-up, go ahead and break it down. It's all about progressions when you're trying to learn something new. I'm not going to do a standstill because if you're working on this concept, I think that you probably already have a run-up. You probably already have a controlled run-up, I would hope. You really don't want to be running up super quickly unless potentially you're going for like all-out power distance. So have a nice, smooth, controlled run-up. You can kind of envision like a Paul Mcbeth, Bradley, Simon. Simon has a nice, balanced, smooth run-up. Is able to stay planted. Drew, Gibson. That dude's ice cold. He's really smooth. He can move the disc. He goes up to the disc slower than I'm comfortable with, just for what my swing type is. But he stays planted so well. But let's get into the drill today. There is a ripping headwind. I was practicing earlier and throwing some shots, and if they were hitting the ground with an angle, they were actually getting up and rolling backwards to me, kind of doing like that wobble roll and rolling. So it's gonna be fun. But I'm gonna throw for the most part just like some controlled shots and overstable disc like Firebirds, Raptors, stuff like that. and I may have to put quite a bit of angle on them in terms of like hyzer to get them to fly forward at all. But yeah, so the whole point of this exercise is to maintain balance on your plant foot for an extended period of time. What I'm going to do here with an actual shot, but I'll show you a couple of shadow strokes now, is I'm going to get onto my plant foot, and then I'm going to have a 2 to 3 second pause. Again, this is really hard to do if you're already off balance before you even hit your plant foot. So kind of maintain composure, I could get into this, but I mean, this across the board for a high performance athlete in a sport. Balance is defined by an upright triangle. What I mean by that is at your hips, let's say the 2 points of the triangle are at your hips, and your head is the third point of the triangle. If that triangle is not upright, so again, if it's leaning forward and I'm in an athletic position, that's perfectly fine, right? Because I'm quite balanced here. But if that triangle is tilted this way, then I'm quite a bit off balance. If it's tilted back, I'll get off balance. This upright triangle and your head in particular kind of dictate how composed you're able to be while you are doing an athletic movement. So the main key here, stay on your plant foot. If you're a right-handed thrower, it's going to be your right foot. If you're a lefty, it's going to be your left foot. And then pause for 2 to 3 seconds. Do some shadow strokes, but all you're going to do is, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to hit the disc. Moderate. I would say initially as you're learning this, moderate percentage. I mean, you don't even have to exceed 60, 70%. And then just stay on that plant foot. So I'll do a couple shadow strokes, and then I'll get into throwing some actual discs. And if it helps, count it out when you hit your plant foot. I don't know, whatever it takes to keep you focused on the task at hand, and just get a feel for it. Last shadow stroke, then I'll throw some discs. My main focus here really, yeah, if you want to really hit the disc hard, you can, but my main focus here is just staying on this plant foot so I can hit my line. I will hit a few, decently hard. You'll see Drew, he'll come up on his plant foot even when he's hitting the disc like 90+% and throwing a decently fast golf shot. But last few here, I'm just going to try and stay on my plant foot 2-3 seconds. It's howling. That was a decently stable Raptor, and that thing was, I don't know, I gotta put more hyzer on the disc. It worked. Last one. I may come off my plant foot here, but I'm going to try and get on this disc decently well. Throwing into a headwind, I think spin's way more important than speed. But I'm going to get on this one decently well. And try and maintain my balance. I may come off, but that's perfectly fine because the disc is gone. But we'll see. Go at least like 85-90% here and see if I can stay on it. That's my most stable. High speed. And that thing didn't have a chance. It's pretty windy. Yeah, look at the greatest players in history. I would say example to look at some footage of is Climo. Climo would hit the disc, he'd throw, and he would hang out here like this, and he'd kind of just watch a shot like this, watch it, chill out, and then he'd come back down. Climo, for his time, was phenomenal at really getting aggressive through gaps. He had plenty of distance, and then you look at all of the guys and gals today that can really move the disc well with accuracy. They're all balanced during release. I hope this helps. I'm probably going to have to voice over a bit of this, and then, I don't know, maybe refilm it. It's windy, but get out there and practice. This is super simple to accomplish, and this is a very repeatable and accessible physical checkpoint that you can make. So if you get into your drive and you're all off balance, you're falling over as you're throwing, it's going to be really hard to hit lines at all, and you actually get quite a bit more access to speed if you stay on your plant foot. You can throw further if you stay on your plant foot. That might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but you're rotating around a tighter axis. I have a video on Snap, and I talk about figure skaters. Whenever they go to rotate, they tighten up. They tighten up at the foot. So if a figure skater is spinning, they're going to spin on one foot. If I go like this and my axis with my legs is super wide because I'm rounding, my rotational speed will be very slow compared to if I stay on that plant foot and stay nice and balanced. Alright, I'm going to try and hit one more and see if I can actually get somewhere in this headwind. Halo Destroyer, baby. Best disc ever made.
Went ahead and added this exercise in. This is a great tool, the Bozu ball, for allowing you to develop the small tertiary supporting muscles that you need to get a little bit more balance. I think that hypertrophic training, so getting big in the gym is great. Have at it, but it may not have as many applications in sport. If it was optimal to be big like a bodybuilder, all tennis players would look like bodybuilders, all UFC fighters would be super big. But if you really start looking at very high performance athletes, they do a lot of functional strength training. I think that overall strength and power is great and useful, But doing exercises of this nature will help your game quite a bit as well. If you look at, let's say, UFC fighters, I really like seeing Volkanovski's stuff that he does, Adesanya, like super skillful guys. And they really get in there and they try and do the things that allow them to move efficiently, quickly, and very skillfully at their craft. Hope the video helped. Have a great day. Keep practicing.